Welcome to the About Sex podcast, the podcast about
tacos.
I don't think it's about tacos.
I think it's about sex.
It could be about
sex.
it could be figuratively about tacos.
No, it's more hot dogs today.
Okay.
Wieners. It's about wieners.
My name is Josh, and with me, as always, is my lovely wife, Angela Skirtu. Tell us who you are, Angela.
Hi, I am a licensed marriage and family therapist and an ASEX certified sex therapist. And with us today, we have Ojon, the tattooed gentleman.
Thank you.
Ojon, aka the tattooed gentleman, has been collecting his personal ink for nearly 30 years. His bodysuit is the work of several talented artists in San Francisco, St. Louis, Memphis, and Jacksonville. Oh, so you're a cultured fellow.
Yeah.
As an entertainer and educator, he is playful and uninhibited. The gentleman aims to amuse and confuse, but leaves you with something to think about. There you go, man. So tell us a little more about yourself.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Well, I started my ink with one piece up on my up on my upper chest. Just one piece. That's all I was going to do. I had
Just one to two. You were just going to get one.
Just one.
Just one.
It took me 2 years to decide.
But are they like chips where you just can't have one?
That's how it turned out to be.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like Pringles?
I got the first one up here, and it took me 2 years to find the right design, the right artist, and all that stuff. And then, I was out of balance, so I had to get one on this side, got it further down.
I see.
And then, I threw something across the back. And then I was working with a really good artist in San Francisco at the time, and he was challenged because he usually did skateboarder kind of stuff, really bright, bold colors and bouncy.
What were you looking for your tattoos?
My stuff that I have is very subtle, natural Asian nature themes going on.
Oh, okay.
The first one here is a oak leaf, kind of really gently kind of falling down. So I walked in with this really different design, but I saw his work was really cool. And I think he was challenged by the possibility of, can I use my skills to create something like this? And he really did, and we got into it. So we worked together for a good 2 years, as he did probably 7 or 8 different pieces on me.
Sounds like you see your body as a work of art now.
It really is. I mean, really from the neck down,
Yeah.
halfway down my arms, and then all the way down to my ankles, and partially onto my feet.
But no face.
No face, that's too much.
Yeah.
That gets a little
You're not going
awkward.
Tyson on us.
No, I don't think so. I'd lose most of my friends and family, I think, if I went that far. I mean,
Well, you don't want to mess up the mug. This is the
Yeah.
money shot, right?
it is. Well, money
I didn't
shot.
mean it that way. I meant
That's
like,
what the
you know,
money shot means.
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah. Well, for the money, it's more than my face, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So
Go on.
we were talking a moment ago about sensitivity. You said some of them are more painful to get. Like, how does it feel to get a tattoo? I've never had a tattoo.
Well, it's a very personal experience between you and the tattoo artist, because it's the two of you right there, and they're up close and personal on you, no matter where they're working, even if it's on the shoulder.
Well, and you said you have some on your genitals too,
I
right?
do, so that was very up close and
Yeah, that's
personal.
very personal.
Yeah, it took a long time to find the right artist who was willing to do that, but I found a really
Was he kind to it?
He was.
I would be worried about like poking at your penis.
Well,
you know?
it is.
They're literally stabbing you.
Yeah,
No.
In the penis?
it's a needle that goes back and forth.
Okay.
But-
So that was the most sensitive one?
That was yes,
Yeah.
but there's other parts that are also sensitive too.
Did you have? This is going to be so weird, but did you
Was
have
I
to be erect?
No, and there was
That's optional.
That's
no. There's no way you're going to be erect when they're working on
I
your
was totally
teeth.
curious because I mean, like, wait, does it stretch and change as it gets bigger and smaller?
There's an old joke about that, but no. You're not going to get an erection when you're having your penis tattooed.
I didn't think you would,
It just
no.
doesn't work. The sensitivity is so great. So that's where the artist has to actually stretch the skin
Oh, they like pull it.
and pull it to get it into the
okay.
They like
Okay.
flatten it out on a table. And,
right. No, they don't do that. But he had it in his hand all the time. My penis, my scrotum. Then I also have stuff on my derriere.
Oh, okay.
That's also very.
so on your penis, is it everywhere on the penis, including the head? Or
Not the head.
Not the head.
That's going to be the next step.
or
Oh my
you are?
gosh, you want to
Yeah,
do the
I
head?
really want to do that.
Do you worry about that damaging any sensitivity? Do tattoos change sensitivity at all?
No, I think if anything, they possibly increase it, especially when they're fresh like that.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not concerned about it changing the sensitivity if I would get that.
Okay.
It's basically what I have now is halfway up my shaft, the penis, and then
What is it a tattoo of?
on my penis itself, it's called Japanese waves. If you've seen that, they're the classic waves.
Yeah, they're like
yeah.
I didn't know we were going to get into penis talk this early in the show.
This is about
pod.
sex.
I know,
yeah.
it just so naturally went there.
Let's get right down to
But
it.
go ahead, tell us more about your penis.
And that's the thing that people have the most questions about. You know?
Right?
Right.
No, of course, because that's the area people are freaked out about. Like, oh, what would that be
Completely.
like? Okay. So
Yeah.
what do the waves look like?
They're very cool. They're blue and green and white, and they got added little bubbles that kind of pop up off of the waves themselves.
Yeah, like a little sea foam.
Yeah, sea foam. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, so does it like crash as it gets hard then? Like,
No, there's no sound effects.
No, there's no sound effects or
No
animation
sound
if I
on his
had
penis.
something like that, I would totally use sound effects every time I got hard. Totally.
You don't get hard.
I don't. I'm just saying, if I had it,
I wasn't sure how you'd add that. Where'd the
Well, hold
sound
on.
come from?
Most guys,
hey, I would do it.
most guys add
Oh.
sound effects. We go boing, yoing, yoing once it's
That's
hard.
true. That's true.
But there is
Or
that.
we go
Or
thump,
they poke it at you, poke it at
poking
you.
it. Yeah, poke you in
and
the
there is
face.
that
with it.
moaning thing you can do too. You know, some people like the moaning
hilarious.
thing. They really
When you're getting tattooed?
well, yeah,
No.
I have responded that way when they.
Or you're
Oh
like,
my
"Ow, my
Oh, why did you do this?
Yeah.
Well, halfway through
That's
any
how I
tattoo,
respond.
halfway through any tattoo, you really begin to wonder, like, oh,
Yeah. Does it kind
When will
of
this
build
be?
up the pain?
it does. But
Yeah.
luckily, your body begins to build endomorphins and puts you on a high.
Right.
Oh,
like a
that's
runner's
right.
high.
That's,
Yeah.
that's right. I've
Your
heard
body
that. That's why
responds.
sometimes people like pain during sex, is because it
The
kind of
endorphins
changes the
it
way you're
releases, yeah.
experiencing,
It
and you're
does.
like,
It does.
oh, I hear
Yeah.
there's like a subspace and all that.
Yeah. When I was driving home from getting my genitals tattooed, I was like higher than a kite.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the endomorphin rush was so great.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm looking forward to getting the next thing done.
You're looking for, is that
What's
the next one?
thing?
Well, I went back to the same artist who did the rest of my work, and my vision is to have a rose on the head.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And what I had envisioned is different than what he had, so we haven't quite worked that out yet.
Well, yeah, you want your penis to look just.
But you're looking
Perfect.
forward to that.
I am.
Wouldn't that hurt so much?
He said he was high afterwards.
I
A
know,
little
but
bit of pain
but
creates
the
a lot
tip-
of pleasure, apparently.
But the head is so much more
It's
sensitive.
just the tip, Josh. It'll be fine.
I know, but just we say just the tip because
It's
that's the only part
it's
that counts.
you know, a small part, you know. But yeah, I am looking forward to it, not for the pain,
Right.
although it is there, but for the completion of the art. When I got my genitals done, I was the pain was great, but I was also tearful because it was like completing the rest of the body.
Oh, wow.
It finished the vision.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What if you finish, like.
Wait, is there an end
gonna
goal?
Be an end? And then you'll be done?
how many
And
tattoos?
then what?
I'm not
What
sure
will you
there's-
do with your life?
I'm not sure
What are you
there's
gonna
be
do
any
then?
end.
Yeah.
There's spaces left to fill in.
There's spaces
Oh,
to fill
okay,
You
in.
know, I
okay.
could probably go down as far.
You might go down there.
Something I learned in life is that a lot of what we're doing is not about like the
The end.
goal. It's
It's
the
the journey.
process.
It's the
And like
process.
when I finish things, like I finished my book just this year, and I was
Then
just
she's
like,
not happy
"Ugh,
anymore.
What do I do now?
What do I do with my life now?
No, it's true. You know, like when you finish things, it's not as fun as in the process of working towards it.
Well, I don't think I'll ever be finished with this until I die.
Okay, well that's a good plan.
Because I've always got something in mind, and when the time is right, the artist is there, the money's there, the design comes to mind, it happens. And I
Yeah.
really feel that the artist uncovers things. They've always been there. So
Yeah.
the artist uncovers it when it's supposed to happen.
I
Interesting.
see.
It's a very
Okay.
spiritual, Buddhist kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You do that while you're getting it.
Ouch.
Sometimes I do, yeah. It's an experience because, like, when you're having my chest done,
Yeah.
you have to kind of time your breathing with the artist.
Oh, right, because if you take a big
Oh,
puff
you
in,
could
you might
screw it up.
jab
Screw
the
it up
needle.
and they go like that.
You said the ribs are sensitive,
Very
too.
sensitive, yeah. That's what I'm having done tomorrow is some lines and things added to my chest
Yeah.
and my stomach area to kind of complete. This was probably some of the first stuff I had done, and over time it fades. Now, why the chest would fade more than the other parts? Because it gets less sun, but that's how it worked.
Right.
So a really good artist down near where I live, Kat, and she is touching up and adding her own flair to what I already had there.
Nice.
And the colors just pop.
Well, so you don't just get tattoos. I mean, you like to be naked all the time too,
Yeah,
right?
you're
That's
a
kind of a part of
nudist
this.
as well,
He's a
correct?
nudist.
Very
Everybody,
much-
he's a nudist.
I'm very nudist. If I
So you're a
could-
nudist, so you can show off all your tattoos. as
Otherwise,
well.
why bother getting things when they're covered
Right.
up? So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah,
active.
you'd
in-
want to show it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything.
So when
yeah,
are you nude?
at home all the time?
All the time.
Just
In the
kinda-
middle of the winter.
I turn
When
the
it's
furnace
0
up.
degrees.
You turn the
I
furnace
turn the
up.
furnace up, but yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Light a fire.
I'm nude.
Like cooking?
I have done that. Bacon
Yeah.
is an issue.
Bacon
sometimes,
is-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've tried that before.
I have
Bacon
had that
and
happen.
cooking naked
The
is
old-
not a
Bacon
good
is not
choice.
good on your genitals.
But you
It's
can
that
you can
splatter.
be naked with an apron on. You know, that's totally a way to do it.
Sometimes, but usually I'm brave enough. I just
You're brave.
go for it.
Just cook on
Maybe
really low
making-
temperatures.
Maybe making a sandwich.
and compared to getting tattooed itself, a bacon splatter is nothing.
yeah, but you don't want to ruin it. Like,
Wait, it's worse than bacon splatter?
Oh yeah.
I've had bacon splatter. That's
Talk
painful.
about think of bacon splatter happening over the course of 2 hours.
No.
You know.
I don't.
No, we don't want to think about that.
I
No,
would
thank you,
probably
John. No,
pass
thank
out.
you.
Like, that sounds really intense.
Some people have passed out getting tattoos.
Yeah, I assume.
Yeah.
Well, but then you'd stop moving and it'd be easier to get the tattoo on. So
Yeah, but
That's
they'd worry about
true,
you
that's
dying,
true, that's
so
true.
they probably stop.
just saying.
Yeah.
No, they'd probably stop and make sure you're alive.
They would try and revive you because they don't want to have an incapacitated subject laying there on
Right.
the table.
Yeah,
Then
could
you're
be
really
a
not-
lawsuit.
Then you're not really consenting to what they're doing.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
can't. This is our PSA for today. You can't consent
it's
if you're
not.
unconscious.
Right. There's no implied consent.
There isn't. No, we had to put that out there.
Yeah.
There was a whole case.
It's true. It's true.
So you're also nude when you work sometimes, yes or
Yes.
no?
Well, yes, I have. I as part of my tattoo gentleman persona, I do gigs, quote unquote.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I do
People hire you to come,
to their house to do bartending, to do service.
and you do it nude.
Do it nude. Sometimes I start with some clothes on, and then as the evening progresses, I'll uncover more.
Yeah.
Most times I start with the G-string,
Okay.
and then as
That's
the
a good start.
It's a
Yeah.
good start.
That's really where I start.
Most parties, he just shows up in a G-string.
Just
No,
that's it.
I've seen him at a party, and he wasn't.
I know. He was fully clothed.
Yeah,
I did nothing.
we
out
won't
there.
tell you. We won't tell
I
that
always wear clothes.
It's hilarious.
No, sometimes I go topless. It's true.
He does.
story. Really? Okay.
He's very cute topless.
Yeah, we went to Mexico. I was totally topless. I got
at the
tan.
beach?
At the
Yeah,
beach,
it was
yeah.
nice.
He got a
So
tan.
warm.
Did you
I
get
needed
burned?
the sun. One day I had a few two to drink, and I forgot to put sunblock on. So yeah, one day, but it wasn't too bad.
So you can't get drunk either when you're getting tattooed.
No.
That's one
Yeah.
thing they're
Oh,
No,
yeah.
it'll make you bleed out.
Do
right?
people try to do that?
Some people think if they take enough alcohol, they're not going to feel
It'll
it.
numb
No, but
it,
they might
yeah.
be like belligerent and like piss off the tattoo
It depends
artist,
upon
and then
what
they
kind of
put like
drunk they
a.
are.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I think if I were that tattoo artist, I would make something really terrible just to like get mad at them for being belligerent while I was tattooing them.
That's possibly a lawsuit happening.
Yeah, that's a
I
lawsuit
know,
right
right?
there. That's why
This is
you
my
should
spiteful
never be a
tattooing.
tattoo artist.
Well, I'm not a tattoo
Ink
artist.
is
Yeah, we know.
permanent.
Ink is permanent.
Ink is permanent.
Diamonds are forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
All right.
I think your
Bad
tattoos are
joke.
expensive.
Okay.
It's okay. We love you. It's
You
okay.
forgive me.
He's trying. He's trying.
I'm dying here. You're silly.
But so you do work. So what other gigs do you do? Like,
So you
kinda-
said you're like a guest at a party. You said there was an interesting story of when someone that you work with at.
Oh yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
What
So
was that?
Well, when you put yourself out there, you never know when you go to a party. You never know who the guests are going to be.
Right.
So one time I was working a gig at a person's house, doing bartending and serving, and doing a show about showing off my ink and so forth.
Okay.
And early in the evening, I was naked at that point already, and in walked someone from work that I
Someone
had
you
worked
work
with.
at in your
I'm retired.
professional
I'm
life.
retired now.
You're retired now.
I retired.
But he
last
used to
fall.
have a professional
Yeah,
career.
used to work at one of the large financial institutions here in town.
I see.
I
Okay.
won't mention
So
any
that's a
names.
pretty clean
Sure, of
cut kind of
course.
job.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
very-
So, like,
very-
this was your job on the side.
Well, when I'm dressed like this, no one knows that
Yeah.
that the tattoo gentleman exists underneath all
Right.
of this. So, Keith is his name. Didn't know about my being tattooed. Well, he saw right away.
Were you totally nude when he came in?
Yes, yes. So we had this
It's like,
across.
good to see you, Keith from work.
Yeah, exactly.
Keith from work. You
But we
didn't
had this
see me.
across the room, glance like,
Oh,
okay.
Hello.
No.
we're going to have to talk about this.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. You're both there, so I'm sure he's also like, oh, don't tell anybody from work. I won't if you won't.
Exactly. There is that you're both at the same place at the same time. So if you tell on me, then you're telling on yourself too.
Right.
Yeah, and clearly you like it too.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
I got totally excited about it.
Oh,
Oh,
about him
good.
being
Someone there that knows.
It's like, now you know.
I know you.
It's like he
Yeah.
has a double life. Not, I
Yeah.
guess not as much anymore, but you did for a time.
Oh, yeah, very much so. So we had to have a conversation there at the party about it, and he was totally shocked and like surprised, but tickled and titillated by it.
Yeah.
And then he popped up at my desk the next day.
Oh wow, of
just
course.
to kind of further talk
Say
about
hi.
it.
Yeah.
Just wanted you to know I like seeing you naked the other day.
That
Was
was-
that the start of the conversation?
It wasn't that way.
That's how we
More-
start every conversation.
I know. I love seeing you naked.
Yeah.
Me too.
A
Thanks.
little more professional, but we did reach that point. And he
Okay,
did hire.
okay.
He does what he talked about hiring me for a party last year. Didn't quite work out, so I'm hoping we'll get something together going on in spring
Oh, okay.
at his lake property. So
That's cool.
it'll be
I
fun.
see.
Yeah.
So people usually find you at a party, or do you also have just a way that you kind of put it out there?
Yeah, do you advertise your...
I do advertise.
Yeah.
I did run an ad on Gig Masters for a long time.
Okay.
That I got couple of jobs from there. The best of that was down at Opera nightclub in Atlanta. That was very fun. Some fun stories there. I also run ads on Craigslist.
Yep.
A couple of different ads, and then also an ad in RFT, Riverfront Times.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how does that ad go? Like,
Yeah, I'm
I
really
am
curious.
naked. Do you want me to be
Do you
near
like
you?
naked people? Do you like naked people with tattoos? I'm
Have
your
I got a
guy.
guy? for
I
you.
should try that approach, but mine isn't quite that way. I basically talk about the tattoo gentleman. Let me be the conversation starter at your party.
Yeah.
And now this, like, bachelorette parties, birthday parties, surprise parties.
That is
That
a
is a big
conversation
surprise.
starter.
It is a
That is a
conversation
big
thing.
surprise at
Big
a surprise
surprise,
party.
too,
It
right?
is. Well, especially
Surprise! It's a penis.
Are you generally the one that opens the door?
I have done greeting. Yes, one of my very
Oh,
first.
so good to
gigs-
meet you.
That's awesome.
One of my very first gigs as a tattoo gentleman way back was I was the greeter at a corporate Christmas party.
It was a corporate
Oh
Christmas
wow!
party.
Yeah,
and
this is-
totally nude.
No, I was wearing shorts,
Okay.
a bow tie.
Yeah, I would expect at a corporate you would wear something.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what the corporation is. So shorts and a bow tie
And a hat. I had
and
my
a hat.
that I
Oh,
would-
that's even better.
Was it a
was
top
really-
hat?
Because he was
It was
dressed
actually a
professionally.
fedora.
A fedora. Perfect.
Fedora.
That's my
Oh.
professional performing hat,
Bow tie, fedora, and shorts.
and that was it.
See, I wear the same thing all the time.
All
You
the time.
don't. No, you don't.
All the time.
Although now I'm going to have to get you a bow tie. and We're going to have to see what it looks like.
I have
Well,
a bow tie.
Includes the matching cuffs too, if you want to.
Oh, you had cuffs.
No, this one I didn't. I did later on. They hired me again, so I must have done a good job.
Yeah.
Yep, they're like,
You were
he's so
great at
kind
greeting.
and polite.
Yeah.
They hired me again to work at their Halloween party.
You know, I
funny.
wonder if you could be like a door greeter at Walmart, because they're always looking for those door
I don't think
greeters.
they would want what I'm
They're like,
offering.
but he's
at that
so
point.
professional in the way he comes and
That's
shows up.
true.
Everybody be like, thank you.
True. Maybe on Halloween or special holidays, I could
Who
do
knows,
that.
right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that would totally.
I'm not
that
sure
would
the
work
how-
at Walmart.
I know,
Yeah.
right? Well, that's the only
Not
other
at all.
place where I know there's door greeters. That and like on the bathrooms and clubs, right?
No,
Yeah. That probably would work better there.
depends on the club.
That would work out.
That would work out, yeah.
That's interesting.
All right, cool.
So you've lived in San Francisco and
Yes.
where else?
Upstate New York in Rochester.
Uh-huh.
And then I was actually born in Texas, raised here in
What
St.
part of
Louis.
Texas?
Beeville.
Beeville. Where's
It's
that?
a small little town inland from Corpus
bzzz,
Christi.
That kind of be.
That
oh,
kind of
Corpus
be.
Christi. Okay.
My
okay.
dad was in the Navy, and I was born down there.
Nifty.
Cool. He's from Texas too,
Yep.
Amarillo, another small town.
Yeah. But Beeville's even smaller.
Yeah, Beeville.
Oh
is much
yeah,
smaller.
It's a
you can't
little
even
spat.
point it out. A point.
It's
Well, you
actually
probably
there.
could if you had a map.
Well, yeah,
It's
you can
actually
point with a
there.
map. Okay, thanks.
It's still there, Angela.
Let's pull up a map and find where you guys live, and then we'll
So,
be better.
when did you first start becoming a nudist? When did that come around?
I've always been that way.
Always.
As
you were
a kid,
like,
as
even
a
as
kid,
a 10-year-old?
yes, believe it or not. Even as a kid, whenever mom and dad would leave the house and I had the house to myself, I would get naked. Just how
Yeah.
I wanted to live.
Yeah.
It just
What would you do?
Angela does the same thing.
I used to
She used to get naked and
cook,
dance around.
and I would dance, and then I'd lock the doors. But then it didn't work out because my brother-in-law
It didn't work out.
unlocked the door
With a key,
With
yeah.
a key, and I didn't
came
hear it,
in.
and I was cooking, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I ran to the other room, and he's like, "Why are you cooking
Why are you
naked?" I was like,
cooking?
"Why wouldn't I be cooking
Yeah.
naked?"
Well, see,
Let's
why-
ask why you're crazy.
Yeah, why are you using the key? Why didn't you knock at your own house?
Oh, let's see. He shouldn't.
He
have
lived
been
there.
No, it was when I was
Oh, he did
younger.
do
We,
it.
you know,
He did.
like we all lived. You know, you
Oh.
communal living. It's kind of a
Oh,
thing.
okay.
But so even as a 10-year-old, you're like dancing around, or what are you doing as a
I
10-year-old
didn't
dude in the
dance
house?
around. I
No,
really wasn't aware
that's
of
more
myself.
you,
That was more
Angela.
me.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I'm free.
I would just hang out and do what I would normally do anyway.
Okay.
And then
like play video games or something.
Well,
or was
in my day, there were no video games.
I was thinking, oh,
I mean, we had the old-fashioned TV with the tubes and the
Maybe
whole thing.
Pong. I don't know what.
Did you guys have Atari?
No.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I'm 63, so I go back to the Stone
Well,
Age.
you look really young.
Well, thank you.
And we
Yeah,
don't
you
know
look
of a
good for your
world
age.
where there weren't video games.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah,
problem with
we were
us.
There's always been video
How
games
did
in
you
our life.
live?
Wait,
Somehow
they
we-
had pinball.
Yeah,
you don't have that in
not
your
at my
house.
house.
Yeah.
No,
No,
you
So
couldn't
no
go
new
naked to an
pinball.
arcade. He probably would have been kicked out. Unless you tried.
You tried. didn't try that one, and no.
What's the most interesting place you've been naked?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Oh,
I know,
yeah,
I like
yeah.
you. Bing, bing.
Most interesting. Well, being naked in individuals' homes where where you're like a stranger in their home is kind of fun and exciting and interesting.
But they know about it.
They know about it. Yeah,
Okay.
they're there.
You're not just surprised.
Consensual.
Right.
You're not just coming
They,
into a
they
stranger's house.
invited me in.
It's not a stranger's house.
No.
You just
Josh,
come in and get
it's
naked.
not surprise nudity. You really can't do that or you get arrested.
Yeah, fine. I won't do it anymore.
Stop doing it. They keep sending us letters.
That indecent exposure law.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Also breaking and entering.
Yeah,
breaking and entering is bad.
Sexual assault.
So anyhow, tell us more about your story. Sorry, we cut people off all the
That's
time. You just
okay.
gotta keep breaking through us.
I keep work. I'm going to find my way through here.
You'll find it.
all
Yeah.
right, all
I
right.
think
So what happened in the
So,
story?
not pinball. You were. Where were we?
Well, you
We were
asked.
asking about the most unique place he was
Most
ever
unique
naked.
place.
He
Other
was talking
people's
about
homes.
in strangers' homes.
Yeah.
Right, that's awkward and strange sometimes. Public places, like sometimes people hire me as for at a bachelorette party or bachelor party,
Oh, sure.
and they have a private room in a restaurant.
Yeah.
So as long as the restaurant is cool and the wait staff is okay, that's kind of cool and exciting.
That's
and
interesting. I didn't know people did that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it's not common, but it's
Right.
possible. Again, whenever that pops up, no pun intended, I make sure with the people who are hiring me that the restaurant is cool with it.
Yeah, you gotta make sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
like, I'm going to be nude. There's lots of tattoos.
Like, we're
This
not
is gonna
breaking
work
any health
out.
codes here.
Right, it is.
Just don't go into the
It
kitchen.
kind of is. You're
Don't-
not supposed to be naked around the kitchen, I
Right,
hear.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I've never.
You're not allowed to
ventured
make a taco while
into-
you're
No,
there.
no.
Is he making a taco?
I'm assuming it was a Mexican
Have you
restaurant.
ever made a taco naked?
No, I don't make tacos.
What?
I never
What?
made tacos.
You were born in Texas. Were
How
you
could you
raised
not
in-
make
Yeah,
tacos
no,
from Texas?
we left when I was a baby, so
Oh,
I was
okay.
raised in St. Louis. So.
Okay.
Oh, well, okay. So you moved here
In
pretty
Texas,
quickly.
it's all about Mexican
Oh
food.
yeah.
Yeah. We have
That's all
tacos
we
every
ever
Tuesday or Wednesday. It's not
We do.
Taco Tuesday. It's Taco Wednesday.
I eat
Yes.
Mexican food like 3 times
Yeah,
a week, but
we
we
love
also do it
Mexican
as
food.
dinner. So.
Ah, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
It's just kind of a thing.
I was thinking we might have Mexican later on. Tonight.
Oh, okay.
Sounds
Cool,
good.
cool.
Okay.
Good, good. You guys in the crew. Got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds good.
All right.
So, any other interesting places?
The place I had the most fun at was the Opera nightclub in Atlanta. That was very fun. They hired me to appear down there like 7 or 8 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They paid for my trip down, and I was there for Saturday night. And I had free range of the nightclub. It's a beautiful place. You got to see it.
Okay.
It's in downtown Atlanta, in the
Never
really
been.
cool district. And they bring in some really top name acts. And I was not an act, but I was kind of an
little bit.
ambient character in
You
the
added to the ambiance.
I did, and I was able to go around and roam around anywhere.
Were you totally nude on that one?
No, I was wearing a G-string.
G-string on that one.
part,
Okay.
because it was a public place.
It's a little
and all
public,
that,
yeah.
But I was, called into private rooms to dance or whatever, and lots of pictures.
fun.
Bachelor and bachelorette parties love me. I love to see how many people's Facebook pages I maybe popped up. In
Oh,
doing
yeah.
that,
Like this guy.
Look at what we have.
Look at this guy, yeah.
And I met some
fun.
amazing, fun, wonderful people doing this because they were just impressed that someone was so brave and comfortable to
In their
do
own
this.
skin, yeah.
And people that you wouldn't think would be interested or would approach me
Mm-hmm.
would be very forward and very interesting and playful.
Yeah.
One fun story is I was up in the upper level of the nightclub, which is the expensive seats, private bar up
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there.
we never go up there.
Yeah, it's way too expensive.
Yeah.
And this one young couple was up there, and they weren't dressed to the nines like a lot of people were in the nightclub.
Yeah.
So they were kind of flannel shirt people,
Okay.
and I could tell that they were comfortable and having fun. So they walked up to me, and the gentleman asked the man asked, "Would you mind if I pick you up and throw you over my shoulder and have my wife take a picture of this?"
I get that question every
I
day.
know all the
I
time.
know.
We thought it was only Josh.
No, it happened to me. So
Interesting.
we did that.
You said yes.
Yeah, of course.
Of course he said yes. Why would he
Of
not go over
course.
his shoulder?
That's what
What's
I'm
the
there
point
for.
of being there?
Amused and confused.
Right,
And That's
right.
what I did.
That's what you do.
So
I'm
he-
totally
get it.
confused.
He picked me up, and she took the picture, and they had a good time. So
Do you still have that picture? I still
I never
wanna
got
see that
I never got a
picture.
copy
Oh,
of
you
that.
should have been
See,
tagged on Facebook.
I never saw that. But the nightclub sometimes posted pictures that people took, or they sometimes took their own pictures.
Yeah.
Often as people walked in. I was a greeter down there.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of self-appointed myself as the greeter.
You just hired yourself. You were like,
Well, not hired myself at the book club, but I assumed the
It's
greeter
an
Your
easy
role.
role to
Position.
take,
And
It's like, I
people
know what to
loved
do with
it.
this.
People loved it,
Hello,
yeah.
They
how are
walked in and they saw this, nearly naked guy standing there, and most people just giggled and laughed and said, "Okay, I know
you?
we're going to have
Like,
a good
oh my God,
time
naked
tonight."
people are
yeah,
here.
it's definitely going to be a good night.
People are kind of scared of nudity sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm really curious, are there any bad things that's happened? Like, have you ever gotten in trouble for your nude lifestyle or had some issues?
No, not in trouble. I mean, I had to be. I did get caught one time when I was living in San Francisco, out running naked.
Oh,
Well,
And I had to duck when the police came around.
where'd you duck?
I ducked behind a tree and just kind of stood still.
Imagining
and-
this naked guy behind a tree,
Yeah.
like, don't find me.
Yeah. Well, it was San Francisco, so they were probably going to be pretty lenient about
Yeah.
things.
Oh, okay.
But
They're like, it's San Francisco. You get away with it this time, but
but
don't
not
keep
next
running
time.
nude.
Yeah, exactly. But that's always a thrill.
yeah, but nothing trouble. No real
Well, I was
trouble.
worried if, like, ever,
What about-
somebody...
Well, you were telling me before that you actually will work out in your yard naked. 'Cause you
Oh,
have
yeah,
you have
that's
a
right.
secluded property.
Right. I live on 4 acres of private land.
Yeah.
out in
Okay,
Cedar
so you
Hill.
can have as much nudity as possible.
I usually work naked outside doing
Yeah.
yard work or
Even
whatever.
in the winter or the fall?
Fall, yes, not winter.
No,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I have-
I wondered if you liked that, like,
I
cold
have
rush,
some. I have
Will
some
you put
sense.
Will you put a sweater on in the fall?
Yes.
But nothing below.
bottomless party.
Bottomless party. Like this morning, I was wearing a flannel shirt, but nothing else.
Outside?
I went outside for a bit.
Pretty
Yes.
cold out.
That's pretty cold.
It's like
Yeah.
25.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe you get used to it.
I enjoyed the thrill. And my house is set up where there's no way to get to the basement from the upstairs. It's a separate entrance.
It's
So
like
I have to
two
go
separate-
outside.
Okay.
So I usually make that run
Yeah.
naked if I'm
Yeah.
working downstairs or
Yeah.
whatever.
But you'll just work outside in the yard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like mow the lawn naked?
I do some, yes.
That's kind of extreme. That's
I would be
that's
scared.
dangerous.
I'd be
right
scared
there.
about a hammer,
What if something
actually.
flies? A hammer?
Wait, what if you accidentally hammered yourself?
No,
I don't know.
no.
You'd just be bad with a hammer,
very
perhaps.
careful. I'm very careful.
How
with
do you
that.
accidentally hammer your penis? That'd be like
Think of the circumference. Boom.
you have to really, really
Oh,
miss.
why
You'd
did
have
I
to ri-
hammer my penis?
Oh no!
that happens all the time.
That would only happen if you
Well,
like.
that's a whole different story.
Yeah,
That's a whole different service.
yeah, that's a different service.
Yeah.
Okay, so but while you're working out on at your house, you said something happened with a new neighbor. when you
Oh, that
first-
was actually that happened inside my house.
that was in your house. So
I
what was
had-
happening?
I had just bought the house out there,
Mm-hmm.
met the neighbor across the street, really cool guy, and so I felt right away he was going to be cool. But met him clothed outside. And one evening, I was out at the house before I moved in, cleaning and kind of getting ready to make the big move out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was standing naked, cleaning the stove,
Of course, cleaning nude. Yeah.
cleaning nude.
As one does.
As
one
one
does.
does. And the stove is right next to the mudroom, which is right off the garage, and the garage door was open.
Okay.
Because it was a warm summer evening.
Yeah.
So I'm there cleaning and scrubbing away at this old stove that I eventually had to replace.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I hear footsteps out in the garage. And all of a sudden I look up, and there's my neighbor, Jeff.
And he just walked up. I mean,
He
I guess
just-
the garage was open.
I was open. I mean, he didn't know,
He was
So
like, oh, I could say hello. He's fine.
well, he wanted to come over and talk about neighborhood business and things.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Of
So
course.
he just walked in. I heard these footsteps, and I looked up, and there's Jeff. So
Hey,
Hi,
good
Jeff.
to see you, Jeff.
yeah, and hope you liked seeing me.
Yeah.
My first inclination was to, oh my God, I got to run. But I
Right.
stopped and said, no, I moved out here because I wanted to live like
Yeah,
this.
you want privacy.
This is my home.
Yeah.
He came in, so I just just stood there.
Hi.
And
Like,
we
hey.
talked. So we talked for about a half hour.
For half an hour, okay.
Did you mention the nudity thing, or did you guys just act like
that
you didn't
didn't
see
exist.
I
I'm
just-
just gonna pretend you're
it? I
clothed
know people
right
are
now.
awkward, but that's kind of like
I did acknowledge it. I said, "Well, you caught me." I said, "This is how I live. This is me." He said, "No problem."
that's cool.
Oh, okay.
Well,
he sees
a,
it all the time.
He's a UPS driver. Of
Oh,
course,
of
he's
course
seen
he's
it.
seen
it.
everything.
People open the door naked all the time.
Yeah, so he's seen it.
Even
all.
I do that.
So, but it
He
gets
once
even.
chased a man naked. That's another story.
I was naked. They were clothed. They had
No.
broken into our house.
Somebody had broken into our house.
And my
It was really
inclination was to
crazy.
chase them out the house naked, and she said, "Stop! You're
You're not
dressed."
wearing any clothes.
So I put boxers on, but then I still ran
This
out.
guy was like drunk as a skunk, and he thought he was breaking into his own home. He was not. He broke into our home.
Everybody always has to break
And
into
we
their
were.
own home.
I was
Yeah.
scared because I sleep in the nude, and so I walk out, and there's a guy, and I'm like, and my voice goes super high, like I didn't even know my voice could do that, and I was like, get out of here, like an opera singer. I went in a like total falsetto. I didn't even know I could talk
And that's
like
probably
that.
what scared him.
And what's funny is Josh, I have night terrors, and
Yeah,
this is
she
our
wakes up
first year of
screaming all the
marriage.
time.
So he would move.
She wasn't used to sleeping
I
with
wasn't
somebody
used to
else in the bed.
sleeping with him, and every time he'd move, I'd be like, ah!
Panicking. Yeah.
So she'd woken up
I need to
screaming
sleep
before.
with a wallet in my mouth. No, I'm just kidding. But no, so I wait. He was like, Angela, it's okay. It's just me. But it wasn't because he saw that he went out and he saw that the door, like the guy ran out the door.
And the blinds were
were
swinging
moving.
still.
And so that's when, of
So I
course,
was
he
like-
sleeps in the nude
so
too.
I believed her
He's
finally.
running out. And I'm like, you don't have any pants.
Yeah, I didn't have anything on.
It turned out okay. You know?
Did you catch the guy or did
The
he?
cop-
Yes,
did,
the
actually.
cops did.
Yeah.
And actually, he left his pants in our apartment.
Yeah, with his ID and everything. Because
Like-
when he came through the window, it knocked his
Such
shorts
a weird
off.
story.
Oh, that's a story.
Yeah, so we didn't know
he had
if it
two
was
pairs of
him,
shorts on.
but his pants with his ID
I
were
found it.
in between the microwave and the refrigerator.
Yeah, it had fallen down.
So we were like, "Is this him?" And they were like, "Yes."
Yeah, that's him.
And so
Oh, not a very smart.
it was, I don't know, right? And
But
this
he was a
this
young
window
guy.
was this small. This guy really
So he
like wanted to
shimmied
get
through,
in.
and
Yeah.
then when he shimmied through, his pants came
Yeah.
off.
But
craziest night
we didn't
ever.
want him to get into real trouble, so the school gave, it was a campus actually, so we were in campus, so the school just put him on like probation.
And he
made
came
him
to
do-
he came to apologize
Yeah,
the
he
next
came to
day.
apologize.
We were like,
So was he drunk?
He was
he
so
was
drunk.
blackout
Yeah, he was
drunk.
blackout.
He did not remember the night.
So he
it's
thought he was
crazy.
So I was
Going to
like,
his
dude,
own
you need to
home,
learn how
okay.
to drink like an adult. Calm
Yeah,
down.
yeah. But the point is that
But
I
then the
guess you can
school-
run
yeah.
naked. Josh just had a similar
Oh, yeah.
experience.
But mine was a lot more adrenaline packed. Although yours seemed when the cops were after you a little bit.
Yeah,
so,
well, that's adrenaline packed.
There's a little
too.
adrenaline.
Yeah. But I get the adrenaline rush when I'm seen naked.
Yeah,
It's
that's exciting. And so it sounds like the guy, the neighbor, was really cool with it. And he was just like, "Yep, that's how he
Oh,
is."
no problem. We
no
talked,
problem.
but it gets even better because he leaves, and I was giggling to myself about
Yeah.
how great my neighbors are. And this is
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
This is why I did this.
Yeah.
So I went about finished cleaning. Well, about a half hour later, he comes back
He wanted to see you nude again.
with a neighbor,
With another neighbor.
with another
neighbor.
neighbor carrying a 6-pack of beer.
Oh my gosh! They're like, we
So-
need to go hang out with this nude guy.
So Jeff must have went home, made his phone call. You got to come up and see
This guy's
the
cool.
new
Oh my
neighbor.
gosh.
The new neighbor.
I'm gonna
yeah.
grab some beer. I'll meet you there.
Okay.
So here, the three of us. I stopped cleaning, and the three of
like,
us.
well, I
went,
guess I'm drinking some beers now.
we went out to the deck. I have a huge deck across the back of the house, so we went out to the deck and sat and had a couple beers. And I was naked, and they were clothed, and it was like the most fun evening I ever had.
That's
Wow.
interesting.
That was very cool. So
cool.
I'm
Wow.
very,
So
very good.
it's good to have nice neighbors.
Yeah, so now whenever Jeff and I have to get together for whatever, I usually ask, so should I put on clothes this time or not? He usually says yes.
Yeah.
And we
You
kinda
should probably
giggle-
be clothed.
Giggle about it. Yeah.
But every now and then, totally
Every now and
okay.
then, yeah.
That's hilarious. Those are really cool neighbors. Just come over with some beers and be like,
Yeah.
you know, we need to drink and look at your penis.
Yeah. It wasn't tattooed then,
Oh,
but I did have a lot of my
I didn't
tattoos.
know that.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
cool.
tattooed penis is
Oh, you weren't
relatively
tattooed
new.
at that point?
That I didn't get into probably 3 years ago.
Oh,
Oh,
you've only had
okay.
tattoos for 3 years.
No,
No,
on my
the
penis.
On your penis.
tattoo.
Yeah.
He's had
I see.
tattoos, but he was just
I
saying
see.
that's one of the more recent
Yeah.
additions.
I was about to say 3 years for all that. That's a lot of tattoos.
That's a lot of tattooing. Well, how long has it taken over your
It's
life?
been 30 plus years.
Okay,
when I
so
started
30
out.
years.
Do you get like
30
one a
years
year
plus.
or one every other couple years?
It depends upon what happens, what money's there, what design I have, what artist I find.
Yeah.
When I get the
How much do they cost?
it can be very expensive, but usually the tattoo artist charges by the hour.
Yeah.
So usually it
So
ranges
depending
from
on how artistic
yeah,
it is. And
usually from 50 to 100 an hour. And once I connect with an artist, usually we kind of it gets better, and they're willing to charge less because I treat them well and I tip well.
Yeah.
And that's always a good good key to getting good service no matter what it is.
Oh,
Tips, lots of tips.
Another PSA.
That's a free tip for us.
PSA, tip your waiter and your tattoo artist.
I mean, he is, he
up
is stabbing you
close
in the
and
dick.
personal.
So, I mean,
You want to make sure.
And just in general, throw money at people. They like that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. It's just
well,
a
in
thing.
the baby movie, that's what he always did.
And the baby, we've been watching the Boss Baby movie like again and
My
again.
daughter
It's our
loves
daughter's
it.
first repeat movie, and every day she's like, Boss Baby!
I've seen it probably 5 times, and then I found out at daycare they play it all the time too.
Again and again
Why?
and again.
Because all the
Is
kids
it
say
sadistic?
they always say
when
baby.
you watch movies or when people watch television, you want to be with like-minded individuals. So like this is a baby,
They
and
really
like he's
connected with
speaking for their kind.
Alec
you know?
Baldwin speaks for the trees.
Okay,
He
so
speaks for the
He
babies.
speaks for the babies.
they're identifying.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He speaks
But
for baby
it's
rights.
really, yeah, my daughter will say baby movie.
Baby, and we're like,
it's adorable.
again,
She's
all right,
2.
fine.
So
And
she's
we get
2?
to cuddle her,
Yeah,
so
she
it's
turns
like,
3 next
well,
week,
all
yeah.
right.
So now's the time to
Because she won't cuddle with us if we're not watching a movie. So like it
Yeah.
does get, it's a chance
it's
to like
kind of a
hold
black-
her.
Oh yeah,
Kind of a blackmail thing.
No, it is
Yeah.
a little blackmail.
She's just super energetic. She runs around, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's our sweetheart.
So you said you found Land's End and Baker Beach
Yes.
in San Francisco. Tell us about those. What are
Well,
they?
that's a beach called Land's End, and Baker Beach is another part of it. It's right on the west side of the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's known to be a nude beach.
Oh, I want to go to one of those one day. I
Yeah,
think that'd be fun.
at the time I had a partner when I moved out to San Francisco, and we lived out near that way, and we were out kind of hiking and walking about, and we walk. You have to kind of whether you walk down some trails to get to it. It's secluded and kind of private, and we're walking. The nude part is at the further end towards the bridge. So we were walking down the beach, and all of a sudden I spotted naked people, and I
Like,
realized
we're here.
this is where I want to be.
You're home.
I'm home. So at the time I was actually working, but that job didn't work out. So my partner and myself at the time had a business on the side. So we had free time, and I would usually spend my afternoons going down to the naked beach.
Nice.
Nice.
And often I would go down there and work on my dissertation at the time, getting some sun and enjoying the view and just feeling my own naked.
You used to do homework on the beach too.
Yes,
We
yes.
used to live in Hawaii, so I would do a little 10,
okay.
15 minutes homework, go swim, come back. It was a great
Yeah.
way to study.
Yeah, I worked on my dissertation down there. It was
So
fun.
another PSA, if you want to do good at studying,
No,
you should live in
PSAs
Hawaii.
are not necessary. Stop
I
with
have to
the
do at least
PSAs.
3.
No, you don't.
I know.
Stop it.
Continue. Fine.
Just
You're
being-
not my dad.
Just being socially responsible.
I'm
Funny.
just teaching people. That's part of the process.
That's part of my job as a tattoo gentleman is to teach too.
No, of course. Well, what kinds of things are you educating
So-
people about as a tattoo
so in-
gentleman?
in
Hey,
San Francisco-
let me finish my question real quick.
Well,
What are you teaching people?
Well, I like to teach about the history of tattoos and ink
Oh,
because
okay.
it's part of every culture.
Oh yeah.
I like to teach
What's
them.
the history of tattoo?
Well, it goes way, way back.
Yeah.
And every culture that we've identified so far over in archaeological time, every culture has done some form of tattooing, either as a ritual, as a righthood of passage of adulthood, artistic or religious or sexual reasons. There have been various forms. Now, some of the tattoos that we know actually started in the South Pacific.
Yeah.
That's where they got the biggest push. But even the man in the frozen fellow they found in Switzerland in the Ice Age, the Iceman, he was totally mummified in the ice and he died. He was probably like 35 when he died. But they found actually tattoos on his body that they believe was some kind of ritual.
So from like 10,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So
Interesting.
it's part of, I think, the human need of adoring and marking the human body.
we get bored and we want to decorate.
It's
We want to
exactly.
remodel.
We model. It's
Like,
what
I could add
I need
I
a
need
new
a little
look.
flower here, maybe
Yeah.
a dragon on my hip,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
something to
Maybe a little
to
tramp
increase-
stamp on the back.
Yeah, Josh has a tramp stamp. It's super
No,
cute.
I don't. Do you have a tramp stamp?
I wouldn't call it that, but whole backside is.
Yeah, that's a little
covered.
slut shaming, Josh. It could
Yeah.
be like a nice lady stamp.
Nice lady stamp.
Nice
I
lady
don't think that
stamp.
works.
Nice lady.
I can call myself a tramp, Angela.
Well, I guess you can self-proclaim it, like taking back the word. That's
Well, we
okay.
have the lady in the tramp cups. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. We do. We have Lady in the Tramp coffee cup. So it could be like
It
the
was a
dog, the
gift.
tramp.
From Disney World.
Yeah.
Yep,
it
and they
is.
have little hearts, and when you put them together,
Oh,
So it's a half heart.
Oh,
and
for
you put 'em together.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
These
we're
were
gonna be
perfect.
together forever. We'll see.
We'll
Never
see.
see it yet. It hasn't been long enough yet, right?
Well, I mean, it's been 10 plus years. We
Uh-huh.
celebrate
It'll be
11
in
in
May.
May.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And we So altogether, 13 we've been together.
Yeah, yeah. And we still kind of like each other, so it's working
Oh,
out.
yeah.
I think you work well together.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
All right, what
So-
was your question, baby?
So you said you were part of a gay male nudist group there. What is that?
Yes, well, there's nudist organizations across the country, and
Yeah.
in San Francisco, the first nudist group that I found was a gay male nudist group, and we would get together like once a month at someone's home, have a potluck thing.
Just everybody naked.
And everybody
naked.
brings a dish.
Everybody brings a dish of one form or another,
And no pants.
And no pants.
no pants. Although you do have to go into the house clothes.
Right.
Yeah, you dress in a
It's kind of
place or
awkward,
something.
you know, the drive over, you
Yeah.
get pulled
And
over.
the police officer's like, what's
It's
going on? No, it's totally
It's totally cool.
It's
I'm
legit.
going to a party.
It's legit. Yeah, they still frown upon
They
that.
frown a lot upon
Upon
that.
that, yeah,
A lot. People frown often, actually.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make you look very
It's
good,
really
though.
annoying how uncomfortable people are with nudity. It's like, I wouldn't care if everybody was walking around topless all the time. Like,
Well, of course you wouldn't. You get to see boobs all the
Yeah.
time. Men love boobs.
they are nice. Yeah. I'm a big
And women
fan.
love boobs, too. I don't want to
Yeah.
be, like, sexist here.
Yeah.
Anybody can love boobs. They're very pretty.
Yeah, they're
Exactly.
very prominent.
And they
Exactly.
bounce.
They bounce. They
bounce.
do.
That's nice.
Now, I wouldn't expect to like see it in City Hall or anything. but like if we're at the park and people are on the
Why are we in
beach,
City Hall seeing boobs?
But there's a town in
maybe
France.
that's what's wrong with the United States today is that there are not enough boobs in the City Hall.
I think we can agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So France,
There is a town in France that is a nude town, and everything
An
happens.
entire town?
Yeah.
wow,
Wow.
even in City Hall.
I assume so. The grocery
You
stores
think the
everywhere.
judge has no pants on?
I'm
Order in the court. Or-
That
What's
hammer
that?
thing
What's the
could happen.
hammer?
It's
Watch out
order
for
in
the
the
hammer.
court.
He might accidentally,
hammer?
remember?
It's called the gavel.
gavel. But
right,
still,
Gavel your
gavel.
crotch.
either
Yeah.
way would still hurt.
Either way,
It
don't
would.
gavel your crotch.
I gotta write that down. No
Gavel
gavel.
He's
your
going to keep that for a
crotch.
note for later when he gets his gavel.
That adds to my education thing, like my curriculum.
Angela's taught me so much.
Yeah.
No
One is
gavel
don't
crotch.
gavel
Got
your
it.
crotch.
Got it. Words to live
It
by.
hurts.
Angela gives such great advice.
I'm really here to help.
And
Well,
you
you're
know,
professional at
she's
this.
actually a
I know.
therapist.
I am a therapist.
So you can actually pay her to tell you not to gavel your crotch.
Or maybe she will encourage you. If
Or
it-
she'll
it
tell
would
you how to do it
increase-
safely.
That's true. If you need therapy, I'm Angela Skirtu. And again, we're talking with Ojan, the tattooed
the
gentleman.
tattooed gentleman.
Just in case you're just coming in.
Right. So you listed here that you do live strip and JO shows. What's JO?
Check off.
Jack off.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What is that?
What is a
Masturbation.
jack-off
So how
show?
does that work out?
Well-
that seems a little awkward. I don't know.
It
Only for you, Josh.
yeah.
He's like, I want to see it, and I don't know what's happening.
Everybody knows you're going to do it. They're there to see it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Usually
It's not at a club.
Not a surprise
It's not a-
jack-off
Right.
It's
party.
not one of those public club performances.
Right. No, you don't
It's
want
more
to do that. there.
Private.
It's a private thing
Private affair.
into the home, and sometimes it happens spontaneously.
Oops.
Oops, I'm jacking off
no,
now.
No,
Oh, like it was a mistake. You
no,
didn't mean to, but you already
no,
started,
not
so you
quite
might as
like
well
that.
finish.
Usually, if I'm there that long all evening, and by the time I'm getting naked, and the crowd begins to thin out to the select few who have an interest,
They're really there to see
they're
you jack
really
Okay,
excited and interested, and
Yeah.
if they encourage me appropriately,
off. Yeah.
and usually
Maybe enough singles thrown at you.
that is the encouragement.
Yep.
Oh.
You know,
I was thinking, like, good job.
well,
High five.
high five,
Positive
no.
reinforcement.
Especially
I-
right after you come. High five,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, no.
That'll be a
I,
little sticky.
I do expect
I know,
some
right?
reimbursement
So
for putting
inappropriate.
myself out there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Everyone's got to make a buck one
They
way
gotta
or
pay to see the
another.
Well, I
good.
can
yeah.
imagine people be educated that way too. Like, well, let's see how he masturbates. Maybe you could teach me a few pointers.
Probably
Well-
with his hand.
Well,
Well, there are,
no, but
there are different
strokes for
techniques.
different
Oh,
folks.
well,
I
tell
hear.
us.
in different ways. Well,
I don't know the different techniques. Go on.
well,
How long have you owned your penis, Josh?
fast, slow.
35 years?
How long can you make it last?
Okay.
The technique of delaying coming
Delayed
is
ejaculation, yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Because you want to, especially when you're showing, when you're doing this as a show, you want to make sure you
wanna make it
don't
a show.
come
You want it to last.
early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to have control.
That'd be a
of that.
disappointment.
It's like, our show's over, but wait a minute, we're not done.
All the women in the audience would be like, "Oh, it's like sex every time." No,
I've
just
seen this
kidding.
before.
Totally joking.
Yeah. So there is that control thing. So
that's
I'm
not
fortunate to have a good control over things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Well, and that's sexy too. You know, people want to have a show, so not just like
You
a
wanna- right.
5-minute show. They would probably like a half an
Want
hour
to make
show.
it last.
How
I
long
had-
do you normally do your show?
Well, it depends upon the situation, but usually 5-10 minutes is a good
Yeah.
one. I had a challenge one time Challenge, yeah.
They challenged you?
They challenged me that I had to keep going and couldn't come until they threw out the last dollar bill.
Well, wait. How did you know it was the last one?
Well, they
would tell him probably.
Yeah, right. I could see that they
didn't
didn't have any more money. In front of them.
Okay.
So I could see
people
when
could keep pulling money out of their pocket.
No, it was no surprise.
Okay.
I saw what they were starting with.
Okay.
So it was at the very end of a party that I worked a couple of years ago, and I always accept the challenge like that.
Sure.
The total thrill of the exhibitionism and all of that.
You
So
never know how fast they're going to throw the money, though. Yeah.
They really made me work for those dollar bills.
Oh,
and
wow.
This probably lasted a good 20, 25
I was
minutes.
thinking, that would be a long time. Did you have to okay, deep breathe, think about baseball for a moment? Or?
No, you want to keep your head on your head, so you don't want to lose that concentration and focus. But you do kind of have to kind of back off and
Slow it
play
down a
with
bit,
different parts and tease the people in the audience by dancing around, and kind of gives you some time to back off and keep it going, but not keep it coming.
Yeah, well, I was thinking that would be good for people with premature ejaculation.
So there's actually a way to go even longer. Just jerk off 2 hours before you go there.
Yeah, but you don't want to lose the horniness,
right?
By doing that. So I don't do that.
Okay. Yeah, that's what you do on a date, I hear. You're supposed to
that's like on a first date,
then go on the date.
That
way you can be composed and pay
Oh,
attention to what the person's
focused.
saying.
Yeah, you get a little hair gel built in.
But see, when you're hired to be a sexual performer, you want to be very sexual and on edge when you're starting this.
Yeah.
So I keep myself on the edge, horny most of the time.
Probably makes the show a little more intense and exciting.
It does.
And it makes you maybe perform a little more.
I'm more encouraged too because finally some relief.
I've been waiting so
long. And I got dollar bills.
And dollar bills.
I know, money. That's what it's all about.
It is.
Interesting.
You broke Josh for a moment. He's got to come back in.
I was going to say.
I just can't imagine being up there, what is the setting? Are you on a stage? Are you just sitting in a chair? Are you standing up?
In this situation, I was standing in the middle of the room with the fellows around me.
Yeah.
But I've also done JO shows on stage. When I lived in San Francisco, there's a club out there called the Nob Hill Club. Okay. And they do gay porn movies, and then between the movies they do live strip and JO shows.
Interesting.
So I did that. That was kind of my first paid job to do this.
Have you ever done porn, or is that no? That's where
I
draw
have
a line.
done video, not a lot.
Okay.
Not a lot.
But when I was much younger, I've done a lot more photography.
Okay.
That's kind of how I got started, is working with photographers out in San Francisco. Some really good, fun photographs of myself when I was younger and untattooed. It's really strange to look at those pictures now and see, whoa, was I ever that young and was ever that?
You're like, you were a baby.
Pale. Yeah. I was
you were pale?
About 30. Yeah, I'm relatively pale skinned. And I'm now shaved, but I was relatively hairy then too. So it's a very different look. But I'm happy with what I've grown into.
Yeah.
This is me.
That's good.
We have a similar experience when we look back at wedding photos, although they weren't in the nude.
Well, some of them were.
That happens, you know.
Some of them were. Those aren't the one we put on.
Those aren't displayed or anything.
The thank you cards didn't have those.
No. But it's funny. You look back and you're like, God, I was a baby. Have we grown up this much? It's crazy how time passes.
It does.
It does pass, actually.
I know. It keeps going right
now.
You
want to.
You guys are kids.
We're kids. I'm 35.
Me too.
I'm 63. I'll be 65 in September.
Very young for that.
So I've been around for a while and seen a lot happen, and seeing the different communities change, seeing technology change in my professional work.
Yeah, they didn't have technology when you were a kid, right?
They punch cards.
Like all technology just didn't exist.
I mean, that was the industrial era, right?
Right. They were still doing weaving machines.
You were during the Dark Ages, right?
Ages, yeah.
Well, they still did make clothing in the U.S. in that era, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So they
true.
did. That was before everything was shipped to Mexico and then
right.
Well, Washington Avenue downtown was known as the garment district.
Right.
I did not know
think
that.
people still call it that, but nobody makes garments down there.
No, but that's where the young women's most of the young women's clothes were made. Was in that area.
Interesting.
It was a different era. We actually made things in this country.
Yeah.
It's happening again.
Other
it's
than doing
back.
like
It
service or IT, which are the most common
Or
ones
medical.
we see.
Keep people alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, in general, if I'm on stage, Clothed, by the way. I get nerves. I get stage fright. Do you get any of that unclothed?
Usually there's some fright, some fear, uncertainty before I step out there, especially if I'm going on a stage. They're like, "Oh God, what am I doing this? I'm doing this again. Why do I put myself in these situations?
Why am I doing this? Oh, you're saying that every time.
But then,
What was I thinking?
What was I thinking?
I shouldn't have done this.
What was I doing?
But once I get out there and it starts, even when I'm just doing bartending naked or with the G-string, I question. But then I get started. The fun starts happening.
It's exciting.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's really stimulating and fun for me too. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. I enjoy seeing other people have fun.
Yeah.
But I also need to have fun myself. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So any of these times you're doing these, normally is it in a setting where everybody's nude or a lot of the audience is nude, or do you
usually,
do it?
If it's like a bachelorette party, usually I'm the only one who's nude.
Right. What about the jack-off shows, though? Like,
in that situation, I was the only one naked,
you're
too.
the only one naked.
Yeah.
That has to feel awkward. I would think that would be awkward.
It's totally exciting for me.
It's exciting. You're the only one naked.
That's the exhibitionist in me.
Oh, yeah.
That's what
so
drives me.
you're an exhibitionist?
Oh, completely.
Okay. I couldn't tell.
You didn't
Yeah.
figure that one out.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did.
When I was getting some of my ink done,
Josh is a little dense.
It's okay, Josh. You're
he's a
trying.
little shy.
Who are you again?
A little shy.
Are you my grandson?
That's funny.
All right.
Yeah, I've seen you shy at a party or two.
Yeah. I'm a shy person.
You are.
Yeah, but he warms up
I
over
warm
time.
up eventually.
Eventually. That's why we like doing this. We get to do it in our basement.
Yeah,
So it's like
who
you're just
knows?
having a fun
Who sees?
conversation.
So you also list something here called the Buck Naked Handyman.
Yes.
What
yes.
is that?
Well, that's a service I offered in San Francisco, where I would ran an ad in the local free paper, and I would offer myself as someone who would come and work in the nude and do handyman work.
Like what kind of work?
Painting, installing a light fixture or two. I installed a couple of ceiling fans.
Wow.
Cleaning, a lot of yard work, stuff like that.
Oh, out in the yard, yeah.
Some of the stuff he's already doing at his house, right?
Exactly.
You're just
So
doing it at
it's-
somebody else's
It's
house.
simple stuff.
Yeah.
And I would do it naked.
Yeah.
So they
People really
Would they
needed that
follow you
service.
around, or
yes.
Okay, so part of it's a show.
Part of it.
They're not just getting you to do the work and then they're going off on their own.
Right, they want to
Like,
see.
make sure you stay naked. I'm
They
gonna be
want
over
to
here.
see the process. They want to see the enjoyment of all
Yeah.
this.
wanna
really they
see.
just prefer a nude handyman because they feel like you're going to do more detail work?
Yes, exactly.
Maybe they would know he wouldn't steal anything. 'Cause
Oh
there's
yeah,
no
that's
pocket.
right. You don't.
Yeah.
You have
No
no
pocket.
pockets.
Well,
pocket.
there's always
That makes
nature's
sense.
pocket.
No.
No. Only certain things, but at certain times.
Only certain things get pocketed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
But often,
Interesting.
as part of the handyman thing,
Any awkward situations with that? Like, any...
Josh is always interested in the
Yeah,
awkward.
I
No,
know.
I mean,
know.
I have to think there has to be some people that hire you, and then it's like
He's
I don't
planning this as his second
Maybe.
job, so
Yeah,
he's
he
got to
wants the
really know what's
details.
going on.
He needs the details. Yeah.
No, I'm curious.
No, I
person.
know you're
Well,
curious.
sometimes a couple, like once, one member of a couple hired me, and he thought that his wife was going to be gone. Well, she
She
was.
didn't know about it?
No.
Okay.
So she was gone when I got there, and I was going about my business doing my handyman stuff, and all of a sudden the missus shows up. And then we have this awkward moment of, dear,
Nice to meet you.
what is this person doing naked here?
How did he
And
get
I
here?
don't know about this. Yeah. So that was kind of awkward.
What did she?
How
What
did
he
it work
say?
out?
Well, I realized this was going to end up in a difficult conversation
Yes.
between the two of them.
Yeah,
I
probably a little
just,
bit.
he handed me some money, and I quickly got dressed and I
And
disappeared.
you
probably
left.
the
It's like,
best.
I better get out of this
Let
situation.
them
Little
take care of
awkward.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine how that
I
conversation.
wasn't invited back.
No,
I
Yeah.
wonder
not
what
by
that
her.
conversation was like after that.
like she may not have ever known he was attracted to men. You know.
Yeah,
That-
that's true.
That is a
That's
very
probably a
common
big part.
situation, especially in the St. Louis area, where there's a lot of men who are having to
Closeted. a
Closeted,
little bit.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's a conservative background
It
here.
is,
I've
it
actually
is.
worked in my field with a lot of men who are married, heterosexual
Yes,
married, but they do have bisexual interests,
Mm-hmm.
and they're scared of them, or they feel terrible because they were raised in a religious background where they're not
A lot
allowed
of shame
to.
of
And
their
so,
own
like,
feelings.
they just can't, like, find some sort of outlet or a way to do that in a safe or comfortable way. And they're also freaked out if their wife would ever find out. And some of their wives wouldn't care, but some of their wives would. And it could be like a whole end to their relationship.
Right.
So,
and that's part of the services I provide I offer, make it known that, if a gentleman wants to hire me to come to my house or me go to their house and we have some intimacy and sex, that's something that I do as well.
You're comfortable with that?
Completely. Oh yeah.
You're okay.
You
seem to you don't get nervous about much, it seems.
As I've
pretty
gotten
comfortable
old,
in your skin?
I am. I am.
And you added some comfort.
I've added some comfort to it. I'm very comfortable in my skin.
Do you think the tattoos make you feel a little more comfortable being naked? Because it's like you have something to show off.
Yes. It's certainly an object, something that makes me more interesting and puts me apart from other people doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Some people are completely turned off by it, so
Yeah.
I know I'll never attract them.
Sure.
But some people really enjoy it and find it very, very exciting. So.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good. So, anything else you want to
I
talk
don't know.
about?
I think we're about,
about
at the time.
running out of time.
Yeah.
So, it's been really nice to have you on.
Oh, my
Let me do a
pleasure.
quick plug before we end, and we'll let you do a plug. But
Sure.
So my book came out.
Yeah, why don't we talk a little bit about your book,
Yeah.
actually?
Yeah,
So what is
sure.
the name of your
Am
book,
I in your
Angela?
book?
No,
No.
you're not. My book is called Helping Couples Overcome Infidelity, a Therapist Manual. It's my second book, and it just came out this week. And so I'm talking about...
And you finally got your copies from your
I
publisher.
did. I got my copies. They're
So
displayed in my office.
We're actually going to have an episode where she does a little bit of reading from it. We're going to talk more in depth about that soon. We're gonna try to get that soon.
Yeah, we'll get... I'll just bring it home. We can
Well, no, of course you will.
I know, right? So, but I talk about different things like how couples can rebuild trust, how to answer the question, should I stay or should I leave?
Right.
Things to avoid, like revenge affairs.
Oh, don't do revenge?
Don't do revenge.
Wait,
You know, it's interesting.
Wait, that doesn't fix everything.
No, it doesn't.
I thought
fix
it was
anything.
do unto others because they did to you also, so you want to make them feel bad, right?
Yeah, no.
That's what Jesus said.
No, I don't
No,
think
he
that's
didn't.
what he said.
No, he
I
didn't.
don't think
You
so.
may need
Thank
to
you
read
for
that
clarifying
passage.
That was the Antichrist. You said
Oh,
that.
okay. I was reading the wrong book.
I see.
The anti-Bible.
So yes, the book is out. If you guys want to order it, please do. And of course, if you want to see me as a therapist,
What
it's www.therapistInSt.Louis.com.
What was your book called again?
Oh, Helping Couples Overcome Infidelity, a Therapist Manual. It's
By
available on
Angela
Amazon.
Skirtu.
Yeah, by Angela Skirtu. And then,
Nice.
of course, we have with us
John,
the tattooed gentleman. How can people...
Why don't you tell us a little about what this is? We have two
tell us
photographers
real briefly
here.
about the
Yeah.
documentary
What is that?
crew.
Yeah, well, about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, Justin contacted me. He spotted one of my ads that I run on Craigslist about doing performing. And he contacted me through the Craigslist mechanism that you have to do, the blind ad
Messaging,
thing.
yeah.
So he inquired, and I responded back saying I'd be more than happy to talk with you. At that point, the first contact, I thought possibly he was going to be a customer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But then we talked afterwards, and he explained that he was a photojournalist. He saw my ad. He thought it'd be very interesting to learn more about someone who does performing in the nude and the things that the tattooed gentleman does.
Yeah.
And we met, and I totally knew that this was a good man who I could trust, and he was going to do some good work for me, with me. And he produced a photo blog story about me.
And where is that?
That's out on.
We can link to it in the web, on the show notes.
Get links to that to
So
you.
check that out, everybody.
Very, very cool, and some really
And
good.
it has some photos of you, so they can
of
see some
me.
of your art.
in
on
case
your
you wanna
chest.
hire him.
And in very different settings. Both at the time, I worked at a very private office downtown, so we got some pictures of me naked in the.
Would you be nude in the
working
office?
I was, yes.
Oh,
There
interesting.
by myself. Some pictures of at home in the yard, and just kind of me just hanging out,
Just
doing what
mowing
I
the
do.
lawn, pulling weeds.
It was too cold. It wasn't
too cold,
wasn't working out there.
I wonder what the body looks like pulling weeds. That might look interesting.
It could be. Yeah.
Muscle strengthening.
Yeah. So we have remained in contact since then, and I often share my experiences with Justin.
That's awesome.
And then Justin and Chelsea We work together
Hi.
as
Hi, guys.
photojournalists as well. So Justin is kind of more the photographer, and Chelsea is more the videographer.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they came to me a couple of months ago saying, we'd like to do a little bigger story about you.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, let's see where this can
Let's
go.
see where that's going. Yeah.
So they've been here for almost 2 weeks, following me around doing nearly
Are they
everything.
following you around like every day?
Every day, not every
Not
day.
every day?
Yeah,
Now
but,
that's not awkward at all.
No. where have they followed you to?
certainly around the house, every place.
Sure.
We were out at an antique mall the other day.
You had pants on at the mall.
I had pants on. Okay. They followed me to my doctor's.
Got to clarify that to your doctor. Maybe you didn't have pants on at the doctor.
No
sometimes.
shirt.
Yeah.
You know, this could just be a very complicated way for them to hire you without paying you.
That's a thought. I have kind of performed.
Yeah.
I know,
You're
right?
fun
They're like,
about
really,
it.
we just wanted you to come to our house,
They get
but
a-
you know what?
Yeah,
We're doing a
why go-
documentary.
But I know they made a long trip coming from California to get here.
Oh,
So.
they're from
They're probably
California.
legit.
Oh yeah. They're based in L.A.
Okay.
So I really appreciate
From
them.
Hollywood.
Hollywood,
Fancy.
yeah, California people. So I'm curious to
We
see
would
what we end
clampets
up
on
with.
All right. Well, cool.
So
well,
they're
thank
here
you
today.
we just thank you for being here.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
it's
pleasure.
been a
This
really
is great
great
fun.
show. It's a lot
Really
of
great
fun.
fun. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
You
again.
guys are fun.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
So this has been the About Sex podcast, and we've been talking with John, the tattooed gentleman. Be sure to add us on Facebook, review us on iTunes, and send your questions if you have anything you want to ask. We may just answer it on the air. You never know. At aboutsexpodcast@gmail.com. And our website again is aboutsexpodcast.com.
Yeah, www.
I'm Joshua Skirtu.
And I'm Angela Skirtu.
Stay kinky,
St.
St. Louis.
Louis.